Question 3. How did your production skills develop throughout this project? Before starting my project, I already do often take pictures, and I typically play around with the lighting and settings in my phone, but I didn't know any techniques or angles or names that they would be referred to. I learned different techniques like rule of thirds, which I often use without thinking, and another one is color symmetry. It really helped me advance my photography skills when I would go to events or on trips during this year. I would always practice by taking photos. As you can see, the Mel's Diners photo on the bottom right, I took at Universal Halloween Horror Nights. The nighttime brings out all of the neon colors and it really shows the potential of the diner. It looks really awesome. This was something I enjoyed doing because I love capturing moments, and it also gave me a chance to gain experience in taking photos for my own project. Here I have many photos of my trial and error when taking photos. For my magazine, I ended up taking around 100 or so photos, figuring out lighting, where to look. It was really difficult considering it was just me. I think it would have been definitely easier if I had a model or someone to take a picture of me, because since I'm not the best at looking into a camera myself, I think for being able to go out of my comfort zone, I did a pretty good job. Usually magazines have high quality resolution photos. Everything is clear. There's no fog or shadows casting over. I think having a basic white bed sheet on the back wall really helped my photos brighten up, considering I don't have the best lighting in my bedroom. I also tried to work with what I had to stand up my phone for photos, using my lamp as a ring light type situation. It was kind of hard getting a full body shot as well because my shelf was too short, but also was too tall to get the right proportions. When I would position it lower, it would just get too dark from the shadow of my shelf, and it just didn't work well, so I tried my best working around it. Eventually, I was able to get some good shots. I think the most important and difficult part is me learning how to take photos of myself and on my own. For my magazine, I made sure I was looking at the camera for my photos, since most magazines I saw, the subject always looks directly at the audience. So, throughout my entire project, I would say the design and editing was a little more challenging than taking photos, but I already had prior editing knowledge with specific softwares. It wasn't too much of a hassle to get through, but I definitely was very detailed on how I placed and edit things for my magazine. I enjoyed the design and editing more than taking the photos, since it was pretty exhausting having to run back and forth making sure angles and lighting is correct, since it was just me and I had to take them by myself. I understood specific aspects like layering, although I did have to learn how to do a few things, for example, removing a background for a photo or adding filters. Since everything was a different layout, I used Photoshop for all of my edits. I have 2 of my mock-ups and then my actual cover here. You can see the quality on my mock-up wasn't the best, which is why I didn't end up going with them. I also wanted to add some sort of design in the background, but it did not end up working out for my magazine. Fashion magazines often do not have too much going on in the back, so I was afraid it might look a little off, but I also have a photo of me messing around in Photoshop with layering and cutting out photos. Also, adding fonts, the sizing, the width of the fonts. I made a little border for funsies. I also have my table of contents where you could see the photos. I removed the background to add detail to my magazine. And making sure to not leave too much space so it's not too empty, but also not having too much going on, keeping my magazine simple and easy to look at. I also wanted the photos for my magazine to have a type of vibe, matching a colorway, so I played around with filters. So my magazine cover and my pictures in my table of contents has this blue coloring effect to it. You can kind of see it's very cool toned. Overall, throughout making my magazine, I had to learn a lot of things like finding different fonts, finding the right fonts, using different colors, trying to make colors work with one another, cropping images, how to move images across the screen, how to save my product, saving my design, and so forth. It was definitely a long and stressful project, but in the end, I feel like the effort I put in was pretty great, considering it was something new to me. In the future, I will definitely be able to improve in my ability towards Photoshop and expand my creativity with more than just the overall features. Learning the baseline of things for Photoshop definitely helped me go a long way with my project. So I do believe that this could benefit me in the future for other projects I might plan to do.